Hello, and welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Unmasking Your True Self. I'm Elisa Boogaerts, your guide on this journey to discovering the most genuine version of yourself. Each episode is a step towards unveiling the incredible power that lies within you as we strip away all the shoulds and shine a light on the coulds. Together we'll explore the path of self-empowerment, self-confidence, and the courage to be unapologetically you. Thank you for being here. You are unrepeatable. There is a magic about you that is all your own. This is a quote by D.M. Dellinger, which I just absolutely love and thought that it was perfect for today's episode. Because we all have our own special magic, which is something we can be proud of instead of ashamed of or doubtful about or judgmental. Like I mentioned in episode 1, that using my voice was something that I've been doubtful about and judged myself for. But maybe it's my special magic. I just love doing this podcast because everybody I get to speak to, all my guest speakers are coaches, and I just love coaches. And I love talking to people who are on like the same wavelength as me and people that want to help people and how we're just like so in sync with what we want. And that everything they talk about, I know a bit about too, but they're the experts. And I love being able to highlight them and help them. And together we can help others and make the world a better place by, sharing authenticity and tips of how to do things and how to live a better life. And I get to do it by having these amazing chats. And I think that that's what it is, because I can be so awkward sometimes when it comes to talking to people. I am quite introverted, especially if I'm talking with somebody new that I don't know. And I will very much stay quiet. I'm not much of a chatter with people that I don't know. I don't really do small talk much. Like I have to kind of force myself to do it. Unless maybe I'm in like a really good mood or something, but I like rarely ever start the conversation. But this podcast isn't small talk, is it? This is really the deeper work, not the surface level crap. This is talking about making improvements and transformations to an authentic life. And I just feel so much more comfortable, so much more comfortable for me talking about this kind of stuff with other people, especially when we're both so passionate about it. And then we kind of geek out on it, we're just like, yeah, and then this, and then yeah, and then that. And everything that I say is just so amazing. Everything they say is I think it's just so amazing. And I just love being able to also to relate it to me and to my stories as well. So I just love doing this podcast, and I'm so happy that I can share, it with you. And I'm happy that I've made the transformation in myself to be proud of my voice. And you can do this with everything in your life. You can look at the things that you don't love about yourself and start to love them because they are who you are. I think about me, I'm like, well, maybe I am awkward. Maybe I am a bit weird sometimes. Maybe I am sensitive. Maybe I am a bit prickly like a pineapple sometimes, but also sweet and juicy like a pineapple. And maybe there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe I need to stop giving a shit about my prickliness. Maybe it's actually a good quality in some ways, and maybe I can learn to bring it out in certain ways. I was talking with a friend, actually a coach, and she was talking about, we were sort of saying about how, these blockers can come up and how we can beat ourselves up. And she was like, kind of as you get older, you sort of don't have any fucks left to give. And I quite love that. And then another friend, after listening to episode 1, was telling me about, her living authentically. And she was like, don't think I give any fuckity fucks anymore. And I just absolutely love that, because it's so true that, sometimes we just need to embrace all parts of us and just stop giving a shit. We're going to get into a little exercise later on called Who Cares, that I'm very excited to share with you. maybe I do say funny words sometimes, like I can hear in my own head. I'm like, honestly, and I say it in an English accent because I lived in English sometimes. I'm like, why do I say it that way? Oh, and one of my favorite Dutch expressions is jonge, 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 jonge. This expression is used when like something ridiculous happened. Something, you would roll your eyes at and kind of do it with a smile on your face where you're just like, oh my God, while you're putting your hand on your forehead. Kind of like how you would respond to it, a really cheesy dad joke. My friend the other day, we were trying to figure out set up a time to meet. And he was giving me some times and said, in Pacific, because Pacific is specific, which is terrific. And when I read that thing, I was like, shanga, yanga, yanga. I've also noticed with editing this podcast, the different episodes, that I say like a lot. And I remember making a conscious effort in my early 20s to try to stop saying like, and I thought that I had got rid of it a long time ago, but nope, it comes out all the time. I also say wow a lot as well. But you know what? Who cares? That's the way I talk, and that's authentically me, just saying my thing. It reminds me of this time when I was on this 18-day trek in Nepal called the Annapurna Circuit in the Himalayan mountains. And there was a man that we were talking to at the village that we were staying at that night. And he was telling me these amazing stories. And whenever he would make some crazy point about something or something, I would respond with, really? And he would reply, yes, really. And I didn't notice that I was saying really so much until he kept repeating it back to me. Yes, really. Yes, really. And I was like, oh my God, Elisa, stop saying really. But I just couldn't, I don't know. It was just my response to all the things that he was saying. I guess I didn't really know what else to say. So when you think about living more authentically and your transformation towards it, you want to get clear on what living authentically looks like for you. So you can ask yourself in any moment where that might get tested or challenged, you can ask, what is authentically right for me right now? What actually do I want? Am I being presented with a sort of middle ground here? And is that okay? Like somewhere between where you want to be and where you were? Or do I want to leave that life or that old me behind? I took this course with this company called Create the Love by a man named Mark Groves. And he taught me about, this is to do with relationships, that when you kind of finally figure out your relationship patterns and why your relationships maybe keep failing and why you keep going back to the same type of partner, you can start to make change. And you can make change about who you want to be in a relationship, right? And how you want to show up and what type of relationship that you want. Or, this is who I want to be with, and this is the type of relationship that I want. This is what I'm looking for. And then you're going to get tested. You talked about how the universe is going to test you and that they're going to bring you people in your life who are those old patterns. And the question is, will you fall back into them? If you know what you want and you're clear on what you want in yourself, that you're going to be, when you see this test come up, you're going to be more aware of it. And you can be like, that was the old me. I do not want that anymore. And even though my old behavior patterns want me to fall back into it, right? Because it's comfortable, I'm going to be aware and I'm going to see it and I'm going to recognize it and be like, no. So when you can do that, this is where you can start to change those behaviors and being open to receiving what you do want. And then those people that you do want will come into your life. And so sometimes if you haven't made that decision of exactly what you want in your life and, or how you want to be and who you want to show up and how authenticity is for you, you're still kind of stuck in that middle, like you're not really sure where you fit in all of this. you're going to get tested by it. You get tested by the old behaviors, you get tested by that middle ground, and then you'll also get tested by the newer ground. And you're going to have to make a decision as to what you actually want. And you're going to be tested at every single level of it. I was recently tested by this the other day. So this life I was sort of leaving behind. And then someone came to me being like, but you can have both. Yes. And I thought, that sounds amazing. And then I was like, actually, no, because I don't want any part of that life anymore. And I was like, oh, there's the test. I'm going to talk about this in my podcast. And so it's really good to sit down and think about what you truly want. Relationships is just an example, but you can apply this to your life in general about how you want to live authentically or get more specific in certain areas of your life. And when you get clear with that and you have certainty, you can really recognize those challenges and defeat them. And of course, on this journey, you might notice that blockers come up. As you start to change, you might doubt yourself, like we talked about earlier. Or when you notice your authentic quirks, like saying really when you're in an uncomfortable conversation with the Nepalese man, you might beat yourself up or judge yourself. And when this happens, I like to play this game called Who Cares? It's this little game that I made up, and I literally say, who cares to myself? We can hold ourselves back because we catastrophize all of these things happening, right? But when it actually happens, it's very unlikely that what you thought would happen actually happens, right? So we as humans, we take our past experiences to predict the future. That's really how our brains work. But we can stop this thought pattern and have a beginner's mind and think it's the first time that you're in any situation. Like having a day one mindset. Like I am day one here and everything is new. And it's very unlikely that the past will exactly repeat itself and that all the scenarios you came up with will come true. So who cares? And even when you know when something is true, for example, I know that someone close to me believes that, self-improvement, self-care type stuff, like what we're doing here today, or books or programs or courses or whatever, are a chore. And therefore, I know that this person doesn't believe in what I do and what I'm passionate about. And that's okay. I'm not going to let that person's beliefs stop me from pursuing my passion. So who cares? Who cares what that person thinks? I will not live my life to abide by that person's beliefs. I will not. And the beauty is that they can believe what they want to believe and I can believe what I want to believe. And I believe that this work is so incredibly important and that it is so important for me that I want to dedicate my life to it and help people to live an authentic life. So you can also use sort of the who cares things with little things too. Like if you want to wear an outfit you love, but you're worried about someone might criticize it, or they might criticize you, or maybe someone did say something about that outfit at some point and now, but you love it, but you're not going to wear it anymore because that one person didn't like it. Who cares? Wear it anyway. Or if you do something super embarrassing, like you're walking down the street and you're on your phone and not noticing where you're walking and you walk into a pole or maybe a street lamp. And you feel mortified and you're wondering who saw it. And probably someone saw, but most people are too concerned with themselves to even notice you. So who cares? So in those times where the guilt creeps in or those judgments creep in and you're beating yourself up about sort of anything in your life, remember what's important to you. Remember what you want for you and say, who cares to what anyone else may or may not think or say or criticize or judge you for. Literally say to yourself, who cares? It's kind of fun. And I do this with everything in my life. Or if I had a conversation and I'm like, oh, I said the wrong thing, or I wish I had said this instead. I can't change it. So who cares? And if I feel like maybe I upset somebody, then what do I want to do with that? I'm not going to, if I care about that relationship, then I'll go and talk to the person and be like, hey, sorry that I said this, whatever came out wrong, or it's not what I meant. But sometimes you just gotta, who cares? When you have those repetitive thoughts or these things that just come up over and over and over again, a bit of a pattern interrupt is to say, who cares? So I encourage you to give it a try. So that was all I wanted to share with you today. And just to bring it back to that quote at the beginning, that there is a magic about you that is all your own. Your beautiful, authentic being is all your own, and it is magical. So let it shine through. Talk to you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.